Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. Let's take a look at the new changes from the recent patch.
So the first update I wanted to talk about is in dungeons, and this is my favorite update from this last patch. So on the left tab here where it says explore the Temple of Nemari, you'll notice that there are two tabs now, and when you click on this one it gives you the damage for the person with the highest damage in the dungeon and your damage as well, so you can compare and track who is top for damage. Now this makes dungeons a lot more fun because it makes them a little bit more competitive. So when you run with randoms, that's my favorite thing to do now. I love to turn this on because if I see someone with higher resonance than me, it's really nice to see if I can actually get higher damage than they can, especially if you get someone that is like super high resonance and you're like, right, let's turn this on, let's have a look at who's doing best. So this has made dungeons a lot more fun and yeah, definitely more competitive and enjoyable as well. Now you can see currently Game Zone is top for damage on this run and I'm trying my best to catch up with him. Now my build isn't really a very high damage build, it is more about movement and speed, so this is just my farming build. I don't have a specific dungeon build currently. I've just not had time to work on one, but this is what I use for my speed runs and everything, as you're aware from the videos I've shared before. So ultimately what I want to try and do is beat Game Zone's damage. Here you can see he's almost 11,000 damage higher, 11 million, sorry, damage higher than what I am. So I've got quite a way to catch up, so I need to try and spam my skills as much as possible. You can see I've already bridged the gap slightly, so now we're just under 4 million damage, 3 million damage, yeah, just under 3 million damage difference. So I'm hoping I'll be able to beat him by the end of this dungeon, but let's just see. Now a couple of things to point out with this is the damage per second will always be lower than your actual damage per second, and that is because of pauses in the dungeon like this where you aren't actually able to kill anything because the boss is speaking, because there's different phases, etc. So that is one downside to this. The other thing that I'd actually really like to see is I'd like to see everyone's damage in the dungeon because that would be more interesting to me to see exactly what damage each player is doing in the party, because sometimes if you want to measure your own damage, or if you have someone that wants to know what build to use and stuff like that, it's quite handy to be able to see a difference in damage or to see everyone's damage in total. So I'm currently top now for the highest damage. I did manage to overtake Game Zone there, and we're just going to kill Sargoth and see if I still manage to maintain that highest damage for this run. So dungeon over, Sargoth defeated, and I did manage to keep my top spot for damage there. So yeah, super fun having that in the dungeons now, and that is probably my favourite part of this recent update. So now just to touch on a couple of the other changes. Gone to the complete wrong place here. The first thing to touch on is armory. So now in your armory you can save your familiars. So if you have a specific familiar that you use in your PvP build, for example, you can save them into different builds. I suck with familiars, so I generally just use the same one for all my builds, so I haven't had to change anything there, but you can do that if you want to. The next change is warbands. Obviously you can now have up to 12 members of your warband. I've only kept 9, so we let one person join, and this was someone's alt from my warband, and this is simply so that if one of our guys doesn't attend, their alt can stand in for the person that's missing. It just makes sense that way. We have full attendance like 99% of the time, and seeing as the raids haven't increased to 12 players, it makes sense to not disappoint 4 members basically. So that's all we've done with our warband. We're not actually going to be adding any more members there. And lastly, the other update was in friends list. So I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but you can see more of your friends when you click on your friends list for your chats, and the icons are smaller. So that is it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know how you've been finding the dungeon damage and if you've been enjoying that update. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.